Hello, welcome back to Survivor LU After Party. This week, I'm here with John Sharp, who is the fourth eliminated player of this season of Survivor LU. Unfortunately, how are you, John?
I'm doing fantastic, Sam. It's great to talk to you and just kind of discuss what happened in that season.
Yeah, especially because you and I both went out in episode 3 and both went out on our first tribal council. So it's a little bit of a mirror thing going on.
Oh yeah, definitely shocking. It's quite funny seeing my face going into tribal versus my face going out of tribal. Two very
Exactly.
different reactions.
All right, so we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna start with episode 1. So take me back to your first experience playing Survivor. You walk in, you see 17 other people there. What's your immediate thought going in?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. Going in, I felt as though I was going to be more of a fan than the vast majority of players. I knew that there were going to be other people who would be Survivor fans, who would be really good with strategy and really understood the game, but I didn't feel as though that would be the vast majority of people, and I was very wrong. So I went in kind of a lot more cocky than I should have been. I went in genuinely thinking, okay, I can be manipulative. I can kind of control this game. And it's so funny. I went into it very torn between the game I wanted to play and the game I actually played, because in order to do well in Survivor, there's two routes you can go. You can either be calm, cool, collected, and play it right, or you can have fun, but ultimately ruin your game. And unfortunately, it pulled myself into the more fun realm. And I made some decisions that definitely were exciting, definitely were entertaining, and made me feel like I had some sort of control over the game. But my very first thought was, I got this. I can do really well. I can at least make it far.
It's this
And
exact same thought that I had going in, like literally to a T, walking in thinking I'm going to win this whole thing. No one here is a bigger fan than I am. And it turns out
yeah,
people who aren't as big of fans, like we saw in your episode, Ethan, they're the most dangerous ones because they know, like more on Ethan in a second and everything that went on. Um, so you get the clue. Luckily, that die rolls in your favor. You're elected the leader, and literally week 1, you find a hidden immunity idol on College Survivor. It's not real Survivor, but the feeling of finding an
oh yeah.
idol, I'm sure, is electric. Like, walk me through
Oh,
that night that you and Chadwick found that idol.
so yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back and rewatching the episodes, it's quite entertaining because it seems like the other players didn't find their idols until like later in the week, if
Mhm.
not the second week. And for me, it was literally day two. I I literally acquired the clue, and immediately I thought, okay, I think I might be able to do this. I might be able to hunt for it, but I this was a good opportunity to build an alliance with one singular player, trust them with the clue, and try to find the person who I genuinely think won't turn on me. And so I immediately pulled in Chadwick and I said, all right, Chadwick, you and I are going to look for this together. And I had genuinely committed to the fact of working with Chadwick. The only thing would be, the reason I would turn on him is if I had gotten senses of infidelity. But if he was going to be faithful to me, I was going to be faithful to him to the end. Because between you and me, I thought I could beat him in a final three. And if he was going to be loyal to me, he didn't really seem to be playing the game as hard as I was. But he seemed to have some connections. He could have pulled in some information, given that to me. So I trusted him with that. I go in, and 2 days in, I have the idol and I show it to him. He and I were excited. I'm like, all right, we'll keep this clamped down. I'll decide who I tell when, kind of thing. But like, I was kind of excited, and it did give me this sense of cockiness because I was like, I ain't going home. I got an idol. Like,
Yeah.
not only do I have control over the game, so I thought, uh, I have this extra safety net for whenever I do feel that I'm being threatened. Though, as you know by now, I didn't have any clue the threat that was looming over me the entire time.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it's no, like, it's not your fault that you were put in a scenario where there were just players who saw you as a bigger threat. It's all like everyone's here to play the game, everyone's here to win, and I don't think anybody should be faulted for that, especially coming into it not seeing anything about season 1. You came in not knowing what Survivor LU was because we had just filmed ours.
Right.
It's a lot like current Survivor right now. 41 was filmed. 42 was filmed directly after that. 42
Yeah.
had no idea what was going on with 41. So it was the same thing with you.
I do want to mention this, like going into that first week, like even when I found the hidden immunity idol, I generally speaking have been pretty decent at reading people as far as like whether or not I can fully trust them, whether or not they're withholding information. And to a certain extent, there were a couple players that I couldn't quite read. Like I knew that Jay High had more strategy in game to him. And I knew that going in, I was like, okay, Jay High, I can't fully trust him, though I want to. I knew that Ethan was kind of a loose cannon and kind of all over the place, would talk to anyone and everyone regarding a bunch of information. I couldn't really read him. And I knew that Andrew was extremely strategic. But I felt like Austin and Chadwick, whenever I talked with them, they were upfront, they were honest with me, and I knew exactly where their head was. Because I'm decent at reading people, or so I thought. The thing is, it's like there's so many conversations that I feel like it had been edited into the episode. You would have seen just how good a liar these people are. Like they were phenomenal at selling, like the fact that, oh yeah, I'm 100% on you. They had like explanations and backup explanations for their plans and backup plans kind of aligning with me to vote out Andrew and then to vote out Austin. And I jumped on it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because as long as it's someone other than me, I'm down. Like, realistically speaking, a bigger threat would have been someone like Jay High. But like, if they wanted Andrew gone, I would jump along with the plan. But they didn't want Andrew gone. Andrew was the farce to get me out. It's so funny. They were almost waiting. They were almost waiting to go to tribal just to get me out.
Well, they threw the challenge because of it. They literally, their whole goal, just like as Ethan said, my goal is not to win. My goal is to beat John.
And honestly, when I watched that in the episode I literally laughed out loud. I have never laughed harder at a Survivor moment because it cracks me up that they felt so threatened by my gameplay while simultaneously thinking I was playing stupid in some of the decisions I was making that they had to get me out. It was just really funny because there were some of the decisions I made that were pretty bad. I actually took a screenshot of like a conversation I had regarding the 6v6 meetup, the guys tribes and the girl tribe meetup, because that was a big controversial discussion I was seeing in the episode, which was so funny because like at the time when it was even brought up, everyone seemed like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And it actually was less me and more so the group decision. If you actually look back at some of our decisions, yeah. So the way our tribe kind of came together, I threw it out there as kind of a joke to our tribe saying, hey, what do y'all think about this? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm down 100%. Let's go for it. There didn't seem any real sense of hesitation. And then I'm seeing afterwards, like the only decisions I've really made was the location. Because I was like, oh, hey guys, I have a conference room we can meet at. Let's do that. And so then no one was taking charge of the meeting. And I was like, okay. And then the whole episode painted as though I just completely went rogue. Like, don't get me wrong. In hindsight, it wouldn't have worked out. The 6v6 wasn't like a great plan. It wasn't a great strategy point, but like it seemed like it was the tribe in general. Like my tribe wanted to kind of do it. And so I was like, okay, if it brings me closer with the boys, like it seems like, okay, whatever, let's do it. And like we'd even have a conversation among ourselves, like realistically speaking, are the girls going to go with us? Probably not. We need to really stay six strong, but I was hoping to kind of help create some of those preliminary relationships to make us less of a target and Kalahari more of a target.
People like you and I, especially, we're so open about our gameplay and we wear our heart on our sleeve that everyone's going to think every big decision is going to be made by us, especially with you, who is like perceived as the leader of the Maasai tribe. Everybody and their mother knows you have an idol at this point. So everything's going to look like it's coming from you. Speaking of which, I thought it was such a funny parallel to when you say, I'm not telling anybody about this immunity idol, to you then telling your tribe, I got the clue to a hidden immunity idol, and then telling Ethan, I have an idol, who then goes to Austin, who then goes to everybody else, and then everybody knows you have an idol. So what was the thought in your head saying, I'm going to tell Ethan about this, even though I know he's a wild card? And you're professional, you were like, this may have just shot me in the foot, which it very may well have.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember the circumstances regarding, since it was a while ago, I don't remember the circumstances exactly why I told my tribe, but I do remember that there was a lot of pressure because of the rumblings I had been hearing about the other tribe leaders talking amongst themselves and already sharing with their tribes about the idols. So the way the episode's edited is such that I spill the beans, I tell my whole tribe, and the next thing you know, the leaders feel pressure from me. We were both like all three of the leaders were being fed misinformation because I tell Chadwick, and next thing you know, there are people within our tribe, meaning Jai and Ethan, who are thinking that there's something fishy about the dice roll. And so they start spreading rumors that I have an idol initially. And so they're thinking, I think John may have the idol. So once that happened, the other two leaders immediately start coming clean, start telling people like, hey, yeah, I have the idol, or start like pulling people in. At that point, I'm like, shoot, I didn't expect them to start telling everyone. So now I've got to come out ahead of it, come clean, tell my tribe, and kind of get ahead of it. It was really a huge mess, all spiraling out of suspicion from Jay High and Ethan. I should have made a decision to just be upfront with my tribe about it and just say, hey guys, like, look, I value my alliance with you guys more than I do holding on to this game piece. Because between you and me, I can view things strategically. I should have just thought long term and should have thought, look, is this idol really worth it? Is this safety really worth it? Or is being perceived as not strategic early game a better play? And I should have just told my tribe, hey guys, I got this clue, I got this idol, I'm using it at the first tribal, I'm just going to flush it out. It's not that important, because to be honest, I want to work with you guys. Now, that may have been a better strategy, because then it would have thrown the target off my back. People would have thought, oh, that was a stupid play. Why would he just get rid of the idol? They wouldn't have seen me as much of a threat at that point. And so it probably would save my game.
Well, yeah, and I was on camera crew at the time of season 2, and I knew you had the idol, and I knew how similar you and I thought of this game and how much I wanted the idol my season. So seeing you like sitting at tribal council not playing this idol, I was just like, oh, John, come on, please. Like, even if you think it's a bad move, just do it. But I got to give them credit. Especially, you have to give Ethan credit, who comes into this game not knowing anything about Survivor. And within the first week, we see him kind of understand, oh, this is real. I have to crush people's hopes and dreams. And then he realizes, oh my gosh, John's a super fan. If I'm going to keep going forward, why wouldn't I take out the biggest threat? So just, even though it sucks you're out of the game, we have to give credit to good gameplay. And with Ethan and with Andrew, and even surprisingly Austin and Jai, those 4 guys come up with this great plan to take out maybe the biggest threat in the game at the time, besides CK and Delaney, who in my opinion right now are the biggest threats in the game. On the side tribe, it's you. And Ethan made a point of saying, I take out John, I'm probably next, but right now I got to take out the biggest threat. So I'm curious.
Oh, absolutely. Like, honestly, it's so crazy seeing the evolution from episode 1 to episode 3 as to who kind of takes charge and control of the Maasai tribe. Because in episode 1, it definitely looks as though I have a solid grasp on things. It's like, oh,
I think you 100% have that control, because you're all trying to figure it out.
Oh, absolutely. And then like episode 2 rolls around and you start to see Jay High kind of make some connections, kind of maintain some control. But then by episode 3, Ethan is the mastermind of that entire play. And you see it play out. Like, you see him talk to CK, you see him talk to Delaney, you see him pull in Austin, you see him pull in Andrew, you see him pull in Jay High, like all these people that he just pulls in and he connects with. Ethan played very hard and very well. Like, honestly, it was brilliant, because he didn't even give me a hint of deception. Like, I thought he was a wild card, meaning I didn't know what he was going to do, but I didn't think that he was as good at lying as he was. Like, I'm generally speaking good at reading people, but he definitely played me very well, and I got to give props to him. I do have to say this, though, about your assessment regarding Delaney and CK. From what I'm seeing, you're absolutely right. My favorite player to watch right now, just not knowing what happened within those tribes, is CK, because CK is playing the game and is controlling the game the way I wanted to. Like, seeing how CK is playing is exactly how I wanted to play. Really being in the position of power every time a decision is made. Basically saying, I could pull this person in and this vote could go that way. Knowing full well that a couple people probably know they're being played, but at the end of the day, they can't do much about it because I'm in charge. And that's exactly how CK is playing. And it's quite brilliant, because no one's turning on him yet. Like, right now, what we're seeing is like, he's really in control, and a couple people are suspicious, but in his tribe, he is really controlling the game right now, because he's going cross tribe. I mean, he turned Jay High against me early on. Like, you see the footage where him and Jay High meet, and he goes, oh, shut up. John's looking for an idol right now. That excuse of him going to go do homework or a prior engagement, he's looking for an idol. The funny thing is, I wasn't looking for an idol, but he turned me. He turned Jay High against me instantly, like completely undercutting any kind of trust or alliance or allegiance that Jay High or Ethan or Austin may have had with me. CK is working. He's working hard. It's so cool to see.
Yeah. Final question for you. You're going into tribal council. This is your very first tribal council. You are so confident that you are not going home. What stemmed from that? Like, because you say you're great at reading people, but at the time, the only person who didn't turn on you was Chadwick, and Chadwick had no idea you were going home. So why not play the idol just to be sure? And what made you trust the rest of the 4 guys in that tribe to not turn on you?
So a couple things. We had enough meetings amongst ourselves, and I had a lot of one-on-ones that weren't like shown footage wise with a lot of people where I had some really good connections, and I had tried to really stick to my plan as far as like I stuck to one singular story. We're voting out Andrew first, and then we're voting out Austin. Austin's next on the chopping block. The only person I had really tried to deceive and it backfired was Austin. And again, strategic misplay. I should have just stuck with one name. I shouldn't have had a backup plan. I should have said Andrew's my plan, right?
Yeah.
And if I had done that, it would have been better. But going into that, I was thinking, okay, these people have given me a lot of confidence that is the vote, because the rationale behind why we were voting Andrew seemed very solid. Like they were providing me with the rationale. I wasn't providing them with the rationale. They were saying, yeah, no, Andrew's playing right now really hard. I caught him in this lie. Oh yeah, Andrew did this. Like they were really selling it to me that Andrew was a huge threat. And what did I have to do? I had to say, oh yeah, absolutely. I completely see him as a huge threat. And also the footage is a little deceptive because when I recorded my confessionals, I recorded it as though I was 100% confident. I wasn't quite. I wanted to appear as though I was confident, because if I was and I was right, it would look that much better. I was like, I knew what I'm doing. But realistically speaking, there was about 30% of me that was like, should I play this now or should I not? The big decision. I mean, I want to say that I made the decision before going into tribal that I wasn't going to play the idol, but there was a split second where I hesitated right when she asked that question, because you want to be the one to raise your hand and go, Grace, I'm going to play this just in case, you know?
Yeah, every Survivor fan's dream.
I mean, honestly, I had thought about it, and I was this close to doing it, but I was more focused on maintaining composure. Like if you see, I don't even shift in my seat when she asks. I don't want to give anything away. I mean, because unbeknownst to me, everyone knows, but I didn't know who knew. I knew like Ethan and Chadwick knew, as far as I know. So going into that, I thought, okay, I'll be fine. And another big factor in the decision to keep the idol was I was pretty certain we were going to go into either a tribe swap or a merge. More than likely a tribe swap. But if that happened, I didn't want to be on the outs, because some of the people didn't like how I played with the 6v6 team up. Some people didn't. I'd already heard rumblings that there were other people from the other tribes that didn't like when I met up with Victoria to watch that episode, or they felt as though I was playing too hard. They thought I had a connection to Rachel. This is what's so funny. I didn't have a connection to Rachel before the game. It was completely fictitious.
It's the J-High Facebook thing that he just overthought and assumed that everyone had these connections. And then you see Rachel going like, I don't know John at all.
Like I literally didn't know her. I actually legitimately ran into her in Starbucks. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? Dude, we should just talk. I was like, okay, cool. And we didn't talk that much about strategy. Right. And then she ended up going home because of her alleged connection to me. It's really funny.
We have a sneak peek of episode 4, so we're going to watch that now.
Next time on Survivor LU, the game shakes up into tribe swap, putting alliances to the test. Ethan and Delaney start questioning CK's loyalty to their alliance.
I know, he's not telling us things.
And wonder what their futures are with him in the future.
He's hiding too much.
Thank you for watching this episode of Survivor LU After Party. Thank you, John, for coming on, and I cannot wait to see what happens next, but I'm so sad that it is you who is going home, because you and I become friends over time, and I'm rooting for you, but just a bummer to see you go so early.
Yeah, it sucks to see, but I'm excited to see episode 4 onward, because I genuinely have no idea what happens. So just like the viewer, it's going to be exciting to see.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys.